All right. Hello and welcome everyone to the Bottom Line Live. Tonight, we're going to talk about what is the real cost of inaccurate bookkeeping. All right, I'm just sharing this to the Wealth Dynamics group. And then I'm going to start talking. And of course, as always, every Thursday night at 7 p.m., the Bottom Line Live. And we talk about our favorite subject, everyone's favorite subject, bookkeeping. I know that's what everyone wants to be hearing about every Thursday. And that's why I talk about it. Now, I have a lot of clients that come to me and ask me all these questions, and that's why we turn them into webinars. And I go, this is something I could talk about. Let me answer this for you guys. Let me tell you about it. And I'm just going to mute you here. All right. Thank you. We need wine. Yes. In order to talk about bookkeeping, I agree. At least a strong cup of coffee. Here we go. It's just so it doesn't share on the live. All right, good. So I'm gonna start talking about this. Type in your questions if you're live on the Zoom or if you're live on Facebook. Type in your questions and I will answer them as we go. I want you guys to know that there are no stupid questions. Just in case anyone doesn't want to ask a question, I won't yell. I promise. I only yell when I'm talking about why you should do bookkeeping. I'm Israeli. I get very animated and I talk with my hands a lot. I told someone I did a webinar a few weeks ago about financial planning and how important that is. And I was like, I probably did yell, but only because I get very excited about it. But I'm not yelling at anyone. There are no stupid questions. You can ask me anything you want. And this is, I charge for consultation. So right now is your time to ask anything. I mean, about bookkeeping. I'm not an encyclopedia of the world, unfortunately. Okay, good. So this is something that comes up quite a lot. And when people ask me either, why do I need bookkeeping? Why do I need a bookkeeper? These kinds of questions, and they don't really know, what it means. What are the repercussions? What are the consequences? So I wanted to go into it. So what is the reason for bookkeeping? One of the reasons for bookkeeping is for taxes. In order to have your taxes paid accurately, you need good bookkeeping. And when I say accurately, I of course mean as little as possible. We don't want you to have to pay too much in taxes. We don't want that at all. So I don't work for the IRS. I work for the business owners. I want them to have accurate bookkeeping so that they don't have to pay too much in taxes. This is one of the big reasons. If you don't have accurate records, you're going to end up paying too much in taxes. Because here's how it goes, guys. Let's say you took $100 out of the ATM to go buy supplies for your business, because you're on the road or something like that. You're not going to remember what you bought with that $100. All you're going to see is ATM transaction $100. In a month, there's no way you're going to remember. So that's where bookkeeping comes in. Let's say you went out to dinner with a prospect, and you paid for dinner and you paid for it with your business account because you knew you went out to dinner, and you don't do any bookkeeping. So at the end of the year, when you're sitting down with some glasses of wine or a lot of strong coffee and going through your box of receipts and your bank statements, you're going to try to remember why you spent $104.32 at that restaurant. And it's a business meal, but you need to know who the business meal was with, because that's the data that the IRS needs in order for that to be tax deductible. So how are you going to do that if you're trying to do this at the end of the year? You're 100% going to miss deductions. Let's say you bought something on your personal account by accident. You don't look at your personal account. You aren't going to get that deduction. You're going to miss deductions. There's I can promise you 99% of the time, if you don't do bookkeeping, you're going to not have deductions, or you're not going to have as many deductions as you should have, and you're going to pay too much in taxes. Here, and so that is the real cost. It costs money to do bookkeeping. It's not inexpensive. You have to pay someone. They have to sit there with lots of transactions and ask you a lot of annoying questions. What was this for? What was that for? But guys, if you don't do that, you're not asking yourself those questions. Most of you aren't. And I know because I look at your books. So here's another reason, like that's the real cost. So maybe you spend a few $1,000s a year on bookkeeping, which is tax deductible, to save yourself several thousands of dollars in bookkeeping. Here's another example. I've had this happen. You deposited a $10,000 check that was a payment from a client, and you also entered it as a payment, but you're doing your bookkeeping yourself, so you didn't tell QuickBooks or your bookkeeping software to match up those transactions, and they're both in your books, and now you're paying taxes on an extra $10,000 that doesn't exist because you didn't reconcile your account. You didn't even know how to. You didn't even know what that meant, and you didn't have anyone do it. So do you see where this adds up? We're paying someone however much it costs, a few $1,000s a year, paying a company to do that for you saves you so much money and potential heartache and overpaying the IRS. And not only overpaying, like the amount of pain, guys, I've seen you guys go through this, the amount of pain, meals with clients was no longer a tax write-off. It is, it's a 50% deductible usually, Seaburn, to answer your question, but it's definitely a tax write-off. That hasn't changed as far as I know for a very long time, but it's usually 50% deductible. But if your bookkeeper or your CPA told you not to, they might have had a purpose of why they told you not to. So definitely check with your guys. They might want you to stop taking everyone out to dinner to stop wasting money. Okay, so there's another example. You don't do books correctly, you're trying to track it, and you overpay because you have income in there that doesn't exist, and now you're overpaying on taxes. Or let's say you, here's another example. You want tax planning. As a business owner, you 100% want tax planning because you want to save money on taxes. And let's say you hear about this great tax planning company, and you go, or your CPA, you ask them to do tax planning. The first thing they're going to ask you, they're going to say, give me a copy of your P&L and balance sheet. They're going to ask for your P&L, probably your balance sheet as well. If you don't have one, now you have to either estimate all your numbers where you're going to lose deductions, or you're going to have to go hire someone at that point to catch up all your bookkeeping, and it takes so long to figure it all out. So you have to have that. That is the first thing you need for tax planning. And tax planning is where you're going to save the most amount of money, because someone comes in and goes, great, based on your specific situation, here's how we're going to save you money in taxes. But the number one thing you need is bookkeeping. So you can't create a profit and loss statement. You can't create a balance sheet without having bookkeeping. Okay, let me check my Zoom and see if we have any questions in there. We've got some questions. All right, is all bookkeeping double entry bookkeeping, or only when a company has assets on its balance sheet? Okay, that's a good question. I would say that all bookkeeping is double entry bookkeeping, but here's the thing. What does that mean? It doesn't really mean the same thing today as it meant when monks were doing bookkeeping in actual ledgers, right? So all bookkeeping software is created as double entry bookkeeping. It always affects two things, right? Like, without getting too technical, and just to give examples, because I'm not ever going to try to memorize that T chart of, the debits and credits. Let's say you buy office supplies. It lowers your income and it raises the amount of office supplies you have. So it always affects two areas. So all bookkeeping software is based on double entry bookkeeping, in that it creates a plus and a minus somewhere else, and a minus and a plus somewhere else. But you don't have to enter everything twice. You only have to enter it one time, and the software does it for you. Now, if you were like using Excel, you're just making an Excel spreadsheet to track your expenses, that's obviously not double entry. But because you're just using an Excel spreadsheet and you're not using bookkeeping software, but any bookkeeping software is double entry, but it does it in the background. It's not like any bookkeepers have to enter things twice. But you have to know what accounts things affect, especially when you're cleaning up bookkeeping or cleaning up other people's bookkeeping, because not everybody knows what is, an asset account and what is an expense account and all these things. So you have to understand how things affect each other. So hopefully that answers your question. All right. Do I have any more questions on my Facebook Live? Not yet. Okay. So what are other real costs of inaccurate bookkeeping? Other than it's very painful for me personally to see it. When I open up a new set of books and it is a mess, it hurts my soul. It hurts my soul, whether it was done by another bookkeeper who doesn't know bookkeeping very well, or the CPA who just likes to throw in a lot of adjustments, or whether the business owner tried their hardest, but they're not a bookkeeper. But guys, I want to say this. Business owners start their company because they have an idea, or they have something that they want to do or sell, and they're excited about it usually. And no one tells them that, by the way, you're going to get a stack of paperwork from the IRS, and you're going to get a bunch of, every time you hire someone, you have to fill in out all this paperwork, and it's real confusing, and you have to pay them in a certain way, and there's all these certain laws. And oh, by the way, you need to be an LLC, and you should elect to be taxed. No one tells you this when you start. I know, because I'm a business owner. So you get inundated with this stuff, and it's complicated, and you don't understand it, and it's stressful. And I get it, guys, because you should see when my marketing team starts talking about marketing. I feel the same way. It's stressful. So the bookkeeping side of it, you start your business, you're all excited, and all of a sudden you're hit with something you never thought you were going to get hit with. You didn't know you had to have bookkeeping. You were like, of course I'm going to keep track of my money but oh, there's certain rules, and I have to do it like this, and I have to do it like this. No one tells you. It's not taught in school. I actually did get taught in school how to write a check. I don't even know if those are written anymore, taught anymore. But in general, the fact that you need bookkeeping, or how bookkeeping works, or how taxes work, is not taught. There's no business school. And I mean, okay, I didn't go to college for business, so possibly if you have a business degree, these things are taught. Someone can tell me, if you went to college and you have a business degree and you went that route and you know all these things, then I think that's amazing. But most small business owners, and I'm talking small business compared to, like, okay, Apple is big business. Small business could be anywhere from 50,000 to 15 million in revenue. Those are still small businesses in the US. And those are huge businesses, some of them, but they're small businesses in the US. And most of those don't have college degrees. They had an idea and they started a business. And no one told them they needed bookkeeping. No one told them they needed to do these things for taxes. No one told them anything about they have to start an LLC or whatever, right? They just have to hope they get good people that tell them these things. I've had companies and business owners come to me that have 7 million in revenue, and they don't really have any bookkeeping. They just kind of keep track of their income numbers, and their CPA does maybe something with it at the end of the year. But let's just talk about, okay, in 2020, when the pandemic started and businesses were struggling, and we all wanted our PPP money that we heard about, we all wanted that EIDL money. Guess how many people couldn't get it because they didn't have accurate bookkeeping? Because the SBA wanted your P&L. They wanted to see, maybe not your balance sheet, but they wanted a P&L. They wanted to see how much you were paying yourself on payroll as a business owner. And most business owners weren't and didn't know they were supposed to. So these are the hidden costs These are the real costs of inaccurate bookkeeping. You miss out on opportunities. You want to go get a loan, they want a P&L. And the P&L needs to be right. And P&L, I know I say this all the time, profit and loss statement. You want to work with an investor, you need a P&L. It needs to be right. You want to get an SBA loan, you want to get, let's say something happens and you want to be able to get like an EIDL loan if that comes about again, economic injury disaster loan. You have to show an accurate P&L. And that's not even all the tax implications, guys. Like I could go on about this forever. Now, here's another cost of inaccurate bookkeeping. I had one client come to me and he said, hey, I hired a company, a VA company, and they said they hadn't done bookkeeping before, or maybe not for his industry or something. And they were going to do it for free, but they wanted to practice on my books. And I said, okay, well, that was nice of them. And I took a look at his books, and the books were fully a disaster. Everything about them was wrong. And I said, you're going to have to pay us for at least 25 hours to fix this. So now he's paying to get this free bookkeeping fixed. Why? Because it wasn't good bookkeeping. It wasn't accurate bookkeeping. So there are more costs of inaccurate bookkeeping. And then people ask me, well, how do you find a good bookkeeper? And I'm like, man, good question, because I also have a hard time finding them, and I am hiring them. So I have bookkeeping tests. I make them show me how they use the software. I make them do an IQ test, and then we do quality review to make sure that everything is perfect by the time it comes to you, by the time it's the end of the year, because there's no other way. Because I can't tell you how you find a good bookkeeper, especially if you aren't a bookkeeper and you can't review it and you don't know if it's right. Like perhaps if you have a CPA, you can have the CPA review it for you and see if the bookkeeping is good, and assuming that the CPA is good. I've been doing bookkeeping 20 years, almost 20 years now, straight out of high school. I know I say this and then people know how old I am, but oh well. And I can tell you that it is hard to find a good bookkeeper, and that in my company, we not only do we have super strict hiring protocols, we also do bookkeeping reviews all the way across, and we quality review it because it needs to be perfect by the time it goes out the door, because that's my mission statement. It's complete and perfect financial records for your peace of mind. Okay, yeah, Jessica, exactly. I think you're saying woe to the free bookkeeping that's not so free anymore. I agree. Okay, let me check my Zoom. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Nope. Avery, I hope I answered that question for you earlier and that made sense. Okay, good. I feel like I could talk about this for a long time. What is the real cost of inaccurate bookkeeping? So you can end up overpaying on your taxes. You're gonna overpay on your taxes. Like there's no way around that. There's no way to not overpay on your taxes if you have inaccurate bookkeeping. You're gonna overpay. And even like, I mean, let's say it's inaccurate the other way. Let's say you just make up numbers. I've seen people do this, guys. You make up numbers to give to your CPA or tax preparer, and they send it to the IRS and they go, well, these aren't likely to get flagged as fraud or whatever, or as something to get audited. But let's say you do get audited, because the IRS could audit you and you don't have records and receipts backing that up. That costs you more money. Or you have to prepare for an audit. So now you have to hire someone to help you put everything together because you didn't have good bookkeeping. It costs so much more money to do like prior years of bookkeeping than to just keep it up every month. Keep it up every month. Maybe it takes a few hours a month. Give me 2 years of bookkeeping to do. It's 25, 35 hours, and you have to pay it all up front. So you keep it up, you keep it accurate, you find someone that is a good bookkeeper. I mean, okay, what are the ways? We've talked about this before. What are the ways to find good bookkeepers? So first of all, a good bookkeeper is going to have good communication. When a bookkeeper doesn't give you communication And I'm not always perfect. Like right now we're in the beginning of, tax season, the next tax season. And we get these emails like, okay, where is this at? And I'm like, okay, I got to find out. And I reply, let me find out. And then, the next morning they're like, where is it at? And I'm like, I haven't found out yet. I'm sorry, but I do reply. I am in communication. So a good bookkeeper is going to have good communication. They should be able to answer you within 1 business day. A good bookkeeper, once your bookkeeping is caught up and everything is finished, because if you look at your bookkeeping while it's in the middle of being done, it's not going to make sense. So once it's finished and we review it and we tell you it's done, then going forward, you should be able to get a profit and loss and balance sheet every month. If that's what you're paying for. If you're paying for it quarterly, you'll get it every quarter, whatever, right? If you're paying for it weekly, then you'll get some sort of report every week. But they will give you information every month. If you ask your bookkeeper who you're paying to do monthly bookkeeping for a profit and loss and they can't give it to you, it means they're not doing your bookkeeping. You should have a profit and loss and a balance sheet. That's minimal thing you should be able to see. And if you're paying them to keep it up every month, you should be receiving one every month. Because here's the other hidden cost of inaccurate bookkeeping, right? Like our mission statement for my company, which I've already said, but I'm going to say it again, complete and perfect financial records for your peace of mind. So the other cost of inaccurate bookkeeping is your peace of mind. Like I want to let that sink in for a second. I talk really fast and I only do this for a half an hour, but I know you all know what I mean. You lose your peace of mind when you're stressed out about your taxes, your bookkeeping, your records, your receipts. When when you have to go do it once a year and pull your hair out for 3 days to work it all out. Yeah, peace of mind. I agree, Jessica. Peace of mind is worth so much. I know it is, as I'm a business owner too. When I'm stressed out about stupid things, like I'm not making new money, I'm not getting more clients, I'm not helping my existing clients because I'm just stressed out. A business owner's time is worth minimally tens of thousands of dollars an hour in potential income and potential growth. And whether you're doing things yourself because you don't want to spend the money on it, or whether you're just stressed out about it and not doing anything about it at all, you're losing so much money in potential income, guys. And I know this. I know it because I'm a business owner too. And I've been doing this for, 4.5 years now. That is your biggest loss, like not including taxes, not including going to have to go back and redo it because it was wrong, but loss of potential income because you were stressed out about it and got analysis paralysis, or couldn't find someone to handle it for you, or were worried about the IRS. Not having someone that you can go to get it sorted out is your biggest cost of not having a bookkeeper at all, or for an inaccurate bookkeeping. So I think I'm about at the point where I have to wrap up. Let me just check if anybody has any questions for me. I always feel like half an hour is going to be a long time to talk about something, but I can talk a lot, as all you all know. I'm Israeli. We talk loud. We talk a lot. Okay, so I think that's all the questions. If you need peace of mind, if your taxes aren't done yet for 2021, come now, because we already have a line and it's first come, first serve. So if you need bookkeeping for 2021, get in the line now. Your S Corp taxes are due September 15. Your sole prop LLC taxes are due October 15. Your CPA is going to want all your books. They're going to want your P&L and balance sheet. They're going to want time to review it. So you got to come now and get that done. And then tax planning for 2022, which is again where you're going to save a lot of money by tax planning. They need bookkeeping to do that. So tax planning season is now until the end of the year. Tax season for 2021 is also now. So please, I don't want to have to turn anybody down and say, Jessica, you know what? That's a really good point. I'm going to share the link here. I don't have it to hand, but I'm going to share it. But you can go to my website, solvencynow.com. You can email me, maya@solvencynow.com. I'm on Facebook under Maya Weinreb. I'm under Solvency Now Bookkeeping. I'm on Instagram on Solvency Now Bookkeeping, and I'm on LinkedIn and Maya Weinreb. So you can find me, and we can help you. But really, come now, because we're gonna run out of time. Like right now, we're not gonna be able to start a catch-up project for 3-4 weeks. So if you want it done before your taxes are due, come now and save yourself the heartache, save yourself the headache, give yourself that peace of mind. And I don't mind whether it's not me, you know, if you have another bookkeeper that you're working with and they're waiting for your paperwork, send it to them now. All bookkeepers are going to get super busy. They're already super busy, especially the really good bookkeepers. They're super busy. So I hope that this was able to help you guys. I hope I was able to give you guys a shot of adrenaline of why it's important to get bookkeeping and what are the real and hidden costs of inaccurate bookkeeping and no bookkeeping. All right, I will see you all next week, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bottom Line Live. Thank you all so much for coming. Bye-bye.